we gotta pump the brakes for just a moment. You say high school graduation, but you've already got an agent, and you've already had one novel go out on submission and written some others. So
Yes.
that first NaNoWriMo, one, did you hit your 30,000 count or whatever it was? And how old are you when that happens?
Yeah, for my first NaNoWriMo, I don't know, I don't actually remember if I necessarily hit the 30,000 word count, but I remember that I finished the book in like 2 months. And so,
Let's say yes.
yeah,
Spread
let's
the
say
legend.
liberal with, yeah, exactly. A month and then some. So yeah, it was my first, it was like the biggest sense of accomplishment to finish my first book, because I was like, oh, I'm capable of doing this. So yeah, really neat feeling.
And that's what age were you? What
I think I
grade
was
were you?
12. I think sixth grade, I was 11 or 12 at that point. Yeah.
Outstanding. And then from there, is it just I'm writing from now on, I never stop, or was there
Yeah.
a period of nothing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wrote pretty consistently throughout middle school and high school. I as aforementioned, I had my dystopian phase, and then I was writing a bunch of fantasies at a time. I did NaNoWriMo pretty much every year. If I wouldn't do it during November, I'd do it during the like Camp NaNoWriMo of, I think, July or something. They have like a NaNoWriMo and then like a camp version every summer where you can be a little bit more flexible with your word count. And so, yeah, I was writing pretty consistently. And then I stopped writing when I had finished a novel that I was willing to revise and query. I think you have some kind of sixth sense as an author when you know a book is complete versus when it's like good and like has potential, or not necessarily good. My first draft was pretty bad, but just like a book that had potential. And so I revised.
Your first book written at age 12 was not a perfect work of art at that point.
Surprisingly, no.
Okay, fair enough.
It was, yeah, I was nowhere near Stephen King at that point. And so I think it was probably my third or fourth book that I wanted to revise, and I could actually picture it, seeing it on shelves. And so I revised it. And then that was the book that I ended up querying, eventually got my agent with. But yeah, it didn't sell on subs. So as I'd mentioned before, I had to kind of scrap it, go back to the drawing board, and that's when I thought of Clues.
So, okay. I'm trying to think how to follow that up. Are you, for all those who are listening who want to be the next Christina Li, what's your writing schedule that you're following around school and everything else that you've got going on? Because 12 to high school graduation to starting to write the novel that's going to be your debut, there's a lot of time that goes through there. What kind of writing habit and writing schedule did you develop during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't realize how lucky I was in middle school. I had so much free time in middle school. Like, I just didn't realize. I think that was one of my more prolific times, just simply because I barely had homework, and it just was like really easy to find time. Once it got to high school, it was a little bit harder, but still, like, I think I wrote best kind of in large chunks of time. So I knew, certain days would be blocked off if I was particularly busy, but on the weekends I could spend a good 8 hours at, Starbucks, right, in like non-COVID times. Or like in college, I think it's a little bit harder just because the classes are a little bit more challenging, and it requires, I think, more like
So hi, Christina. It's Mabel's annual TV appearance.
Oh,
all right, Mabel, you're wrecking the story. We gotta go.
Not at all. I think Mabel just made it way better. Anyway, so in college, I think it's a lot more self-directed, and so something that's been working a lot for me is like I like rising early. So like I'd wake up probably around 7-ish or something and like write, and then like I really like it just because I think when you wake up before the rest of the world wakes up, you kind of have a lot of time to yourself, and you're not like there's not a lot of distractions going on in your life at that part of the day. So I have transitioned into, I think, more of a morning writer for sure.
So what's that look like? What time do you start, and do you just start writing immediately? Do you have some kind of wake up ritual to get you where you need to be?
I used to think I had a ritual. Now it's just like as fast as you can get to the computer and start writing because time is ticking. For Clues, I remember very distinctly. I was working, so I wrote the book of the novel during the summer after my freshman year in college. And so I remember because I was working a job at that time. So my job started at 10 in the morning. I think I'd wake up maybe around 6 6:30 or so, I would write, for a couple hours. That was like the best way because it was when my mind was most clear. And then I would, eat breakfast or whatever, do my job, and then maybe I'd write after work, but that's not it. I did the bulk of my work during the morning. And so that
Are you
was
chugging coffee, tea, or just straight to it?
drank a lot of tea. I like drinking coffee. I think it's weird because the older I've gotten, the more my body reacts to coffee. Like I get like very hyper anxious when I drink coffee. So not as much anymore, but yeah, I drank a lot of, I think, green tea or something when I was writing this book. So it was me, my cup of tea, my computer at like 6:30 in the morning. And I'd have like 1 or 2 peaceful hours to myself. It was great.
And then do you keep a word count that I hit this word? How do you know you had a good day?
Yeah, so I organize my writing with scenes. So normally I would write 1 or 2 scenes during like a writing session, and so I usually know it's like been a good writing session when I hit, I think, 1 scene or 2 scenes or something. My word counts vary. I've come out of writing sessions having written like 4,000 words and writing sessions having written 500 words, and both of them feel equally rewarding in a sense. I remember when I was just writing Clues, like I had written like long books before, but with Clues, I was just, I think, at a very like lost point in my writing life. And so I was like, it sounds dramatic, but I was not sure if I was able to write a book again. And so with Clues, I remember each writing session, I literally wrote like 300 words or something, but like I held on to those 300 words because it shows because my drafting of Clues is actually very clean. I think I maybe did 1 revision before it sold to a publisher. And so it was those 300 words, right? And like eventually those words add up. So yeah, I think I don't judge it really by word count. I judge it by kind of how significant that scene is to me and if I feel like that scene is complete or not.